expanded playoff grind. They have battled through a regular season, multiple playoff victories, all sorts of challenges and adversity, and they've arrived at this moment, the battle for that precious trophy. As we'll see a team from the Big Ten, the Penn State Nittany Lions, taking on a squad from the SEC, the Georgia Bulldogs. For EA Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowler, joined here as always by Kirk Herbstreit. Kirk, everything has been building to this. It's time for the national championship. Let's crown a champion. The kickoff team is out there, and you can feel the energy. One game to determine the national championship. Returner trying to create good field position, and they've got the returner corralled. So the Georgia Bulldogs special teams don't do the offense any favors with that return. Well, here we go, Kirk. The energy in this place is tremendous. We are 60 minutes away from crowning a new national champion.
And think about it, Chris. These two teams have put everything into this to get to this stage and this opportunity. Let's see who can handle it better.
First down here for this offense. Off the play fake, looking to throw. Wow, taking a shot on the very first play. The catch is made for a huge pickup.
Boy, I love this call here to open up the national championship. All the pressure, all the hype, the build-up for this game. Instead of easing their way into it, why not take a shot? You see a one-on-one matchup you like, you trust the quarterback, you take a shot, and it pays off.
Second down after that run on the previous play. Receiver in motion now. Dropping back. It's Beck. Got him. He's sacked.
Love the call here by the defense coordinator to be able to call this linebacker blitz to come up with a sack. And over the years, Penn State blitzes these backers and are more effective than maybe any school in the country.
Now in third and very long, looking to throw. Again, he's just trapped and sacked in the pocket.
Well, this is what happens when you get behind the chains, Chris, is people like to say this is an obvious passing situation. It's really hard to vary things up and confuse the defense. This time, the defensive line just came right in, expecting the pass, and blew up the play.
The coverage team able to bring the returner to the ground. The Nittany Lions offense makes their way onto the field for their first possession. If there's one guy on this defensive side, Kirk, who can be a game wrecker, it's this elite pass rusher, very much on the quarterback's mind today.
Yeah, Chris, but it's going to be very tough. This quarterback does a nice job of moving around in the pocket, and also he's going to have an awareness of exactly where this guy is and have a clock in his mind about how quickly that ball needs to get out. Great job by the offensive line here, opening up some holes and giving the running back room to run on first down. Plays like this can open up the playbook for the play caller, allow him to make that defense think, are they going to run? Maybe play action, maybe throw the ball downfield.
They look to throw it here on second down. Grab near the sticks. It's Warren. Brought down to the 28, and it's good enough for a first down.
Well, this is called settling down in his own defense, just kind of finding that soft spot. So not only does this tight end show that he's got great athletic ability and great size, here he shows that he understands coverage by sitting down in that hole, giving the quarterback a nice target, able to pick up that first down.
Quarterback checks the defensive look, makes some adjustments. On first and 10 here, looking to throw the ball. Grab down the middle. It's Wallace. Defense finally brings him down, but a nice chunk play.
Well, you can tell the quarterback knew exactly what he wanted to do with the football. He was going to that in route no matter what. He hits it for a nice gain.
On first and 10, looking to throw. Caught behind the line. It's Singleton. And uses his speed to pick up solid yardage.
Defense kind of lost the running back here. Makes a nice catch and gets the first down in the process.
Nittany Lions lining up here on first and 10. Back to throw again. The sure hands. It's Wallace. Tackle is made. It's a short gain, well short of the marker. Offense getting set. Second down play here. Keep it on the ground. There's the handoff. Defense stops him, but that's a solid gain.
Well, I feel like they called that knowing chances are they're not going to hit a home run. But look at this. Put themselves in a perfect third down situation. It's much more manageable. Now we'll see if they can convert.
Looking to pick up the first down through the air. Running back grabs it on a screen. They bring him down, but not before he gains first down yardage.
Well, it's a good thing they pick up the first down here because it would have been interesting to see. They were kind of in that no-man's area there. If they did not pick up the first down, would they have kicked the field goal or would they have gone for it? But here, it doesn't matter. Nice first down.
Dropping back, it's Aller. The pocket breaking down. That's incomplete. Even on a first down pass attempt, he felt heavy pressure. Getting set. Here's second down. Here's the snap, looking to throw. Receiver makes the catch. Football comes out. Now the defense has got it going the other way. Breaks free down the left side. End zone ahead. Touchdown, Bulldogs. And the defense joins the party with a score.
Oh, my gosh. That looked like a great play. The receiver just drops the football. He clearly made the catch. The ball is on the ground, and how about the defense? Instead of just bouncing on it, they had the presence of mind to pick it up and go the other way for a touchdown.
Here's the kickoff team now, set to boot this one away. And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone. The offense will start at the 25. And the Penn State offense is back out on the field. Quarterback pre-snap adjustments now for this defense. Looking out throwing here to start the drive. It's a short completion to the big tight end. A huge hit by the linebacker. A collision of big bodies there. Short completion there. Second down coming up. Here's the snap. Offense looking to throw the ball. Makes the grab. It's Singleton. Defense will make the stop. It will probably be the final play of this opening quarter. Well, Kirk, it's Georgia on top so far. We reached the end of one in this battle for the national championship. Before moving on, let's check out the stats so far. First play of the quarter is a crucial one. Offense trying to convert this third down. So early movement from the offense. That'll push him back 5.
False start. Offense.
And the head coach will decide to accept the penalty and take the yardage. The offense now facing a third and long from the 26. Got to avoid a mistake here. Dropping back, looking to throw for the first down. It's a quick grab. And they wrap him up, but the gain is good enough for a first down.
What a clutch play here by this offense to convert on third down. I know it's still early in this game, but the fact that they've dug themselves a hole to convert there and keep this drive alive, they got a new set of downs and a chance to dig into this lead.
This line getting set up. It's a first down play. Looking downfield. It's Aller. Lets it go quickly. Physical defending. That one falls incomplete. Brings up second down. Receivers now getting some new assignments before the snap. After the incompletion on first down, looking to throw it again. Oh, it's incomplete. That's a good job of the defender to break that up. They come to the line, a long way to go for the first down, but needing this crucial conversion right now. Looking to throw again. Makes the catch downfield. Tackle made after a big gain. And the Nittany Lions looking to keep this drive moving. Here comes a first down pass attempt. Looking for the wide out. And it's incomplete. The defender arrived the same time as the football. And now it's second down. On the shotgun, he's probing the secondary. Quarterback takes off now, looking to scramble. Slides down to avoid the tackle.
Chris, watch him work through his progressions here. Finds the first and the second option aren't there. By the third option, he's got to pull it down and try to pick up some positive yards, of which he did, and then he slides down to avoid the big hit.
They're going to throw for it on third and short. And he's going to fling it deep, going for it all here. Oh, and it's batted down by the defense. Great play to deny a touchdown. Maybe less than a yard for a first down. They'll go for it on fourth. That's a design quarterback keeper. And he picks up the first down, tackled at the 32.
I can really appreciate this offensive coordinator not trying to just do something crazy. You're less than a foot away from the first down line. Just punch it in and pick up a first down. That's what they call here, and it works out perfectly.
Quarterback appears to be changing the play. And looking to throw now on first down. Looks over the middle, and that's complete. They bring down the receiver, but that's a nice gain on that play.
Simple pitch and catch on the drag route. Quarterbacks love these routes because they're short throws, but those yards after the catch, you gotta pad your stats.
A completion makes it second down. Off the play fake, looking to throw the football. Nice grab. It's Allen. Heads out of bounds after a solid gain, more than enough to pick up a first down.
That's another positive gain here for this offense, and this defensive coordinator is going to have to make some kind of adjustments to get this quarterback out of his rhythm. It's the national championship, man. You've got to take chances and mix up your coverages because right now what you're doing just isn't working.
Looking to throw. It's Allen. The pass rush closing in. Finds his target, and it's complete. Brought down at the 7, but the completion moves him into scoring position. Here comes a crucial second down play. Every yard tough to find down here in the red zone. From the gun, he looks for an open man. Caught near the goal line. He'll go down, but he does have first down yardage. The Nittany Lions looking to crank up the tempo a bit. Quarterback drops back, probing the secondary. Sacked. It's a loss back to the 6.
Usually you like to run the football this close to the goal line, but if you're going to throw it, I'd get the ball out of the quarterback's hands quicker so you don't have a risk of taking a sack.
Running out of time in the pocket. Pressure comes, and once again, no escape.
Chris, I think we're starting to see a theme here in this national championship, and to me, it's this defensive pressure. I don't know if I thought that prior to this game, but now that we're watching it here in this first half, that's the second sack. They're getting after this quarterback in a big way today.
He's got it right near the end zone. And he's in. Touchdown, Penn State. Who says you need explosive plays, Kirk? That was a long, grinding scoring drive.
And think about this. This is a national championship, and you're able to execute like that against this quality of a defense, and that is a great job by the coordinator and the quarterback being in sync and putting together a heck of a drive.
And the extra point was up and good. PAT ties the game here in the second quarter now. So the offense getting some momentum before halftime with a touchdown. Now they kick off in hopes the defense can get a quick stop. Return starts from inside the 5. And the returner will be brought down. And the Bulldogs offense is back out on the field. The last drive they came up empty, had to kick it away. Can they come up with something here? First down, looking to throw the ball. Looks downfield and connects with a wide open wide receiver. So the offense calls a timeout here. That's their first of the half. Ball moves to the 37 on the game. It's first down. To throw, it's back. When he can't bring it in, might have heard some footsteps there over the middle. Second down now. Quarterback drops back. Quick throw to his receiver. Makes a spectacular diving catch. The offense takes a timeout to talk things over. Georgia setting up for the 1st and 10 now. Caught quickly. He gains 9, so it's 2nd and 1. The offense will quickly spend a timeout here after the play. Pass caught, 2nd down now. Quarterback sets up, looking for an open man. Caught near the sticks. It's Lovett. He's tackled quickly, but the yardage is good enough for the first down. A new set of downs after that completion. Important 2nd down play coming up. Quarterback drops back from the shotgun. And he finds a wide open receiver. They forgot about him downfield. They bring him down, but the veteran quarterback shows off that trademark arm strength. And now they'll just clock it to freeze the time. And the 8th play on this drive coming up. Looking to pass here on 2nd down. Lets it fly to the wideout. Pass caught. Can he get in? And he steps out of bounds just short of the end zone. Couldn't quite get there. And the Bulldogs hoping to punch it in here. They have 1st and goal. Here's the snap. Quarterback drops back. And he just throws the ball away there. Nobody open. Excellent coverage. So the offense takes the field in the final seconds of the half. Chance for just a couple more plays. 2nd down, looking to throw it. Sails it way high out of the end zone and incomplete. So no gain on 2nd down. Now it's 3rd and goal from the 2. Back to throw. It's Beck. And he decides to just throw it away. That's going to bring up 4th down now. So they won't take a shot at the end zone. Out comes the field goal team trying to get 3 before the end of the half. And he knocks it right through the uprights.
And that one, my gosh, I mean, it's almost too easy. Nice kick.
So here's the kickoff now. Offense settling for 3, tacking on a little bit of momentum before the halftime break. They'll return it from inside the 10-yard line. Gets it to the 25-yard line. That's where they'll start the drive. One more play before they head to the locker room. On 1st and 10, they'll look to throw it. And he's looking to make a big play downfield. Deep ball is caught for a huge gain here. Minutes going to wrap up the first half here. Let's kick it down to Kevin Connors with our halftime update. The Dogs will kick this away to get the second half going. Fielded in the end zone. It's Singleton. That's strong coverage, though. They tackle him at the 11-yard line. And the Nittany Lions offense retakes the field. First down. Looking to throw the football. Oh, the quick throw falls incomplete.
Well, this quarterback and his receivers have got to get on the same page. They've got to find a rhythm if they want to move the ball down the field.
Incomplete. Second down coming up. The pre-snap motion from the offense. Looking for some space. It's Singleton. They'll stop him behind the line for a loss of 1.
That's a great play all around by this defense. Their first-level defenders hold their own at the point of attack, allowing the second and third-level players to roam free and make the tackle close to the line of scrimmage.
Fires it to the wideout. That one is incomplete. The defender was right there, and it brings up 4th down now. Nittany Lions will line up to punt it away. He's on to boot it away now. Fair catch is made, but let's see what that flag was about.
Kick catch interference. Kicking kick.
So contact after the fair catch signal. It'll cost them. Big guys up front lined up. It's 1st down. Takes the handoff, heads to the right. They'll stop him behind the line for a loss of 1. Well, they run it right into a blitz, and that linebacker was coming downhill curve.
Man, what a time to call that blitz here by the defensive coordinator. And you're right, he shoots right through that A-gap. Really, the back had nowhere to go. By the time he got the ball in his hands, the linebacker's right in his face.
And they convert here on 3rd down in the red zone. This is a 4-point type of play, touchdown or field goal. Pre-snap motion from the receiver. Looking to pass. It's Beck. And it's picked off in the end zone.
Boy, great hands by the defender to take that ball away and pretty much steal it from the intended receiver. I don't know if I'd be targeting that defender very many more times.
And the Penn State offense comes back on the field. This has been a struggle so far for both offenses. Can they finally get something going here? Offense will keep it on the ground here. Defense gets him down, but they'll take the gain on that play.
Nice solid run here by this back. Did a nice job of just kind of finding that lane, pick up some positive yards there on 1st and 10.
Quarterback wants to throw it on 2nd down. Grab behind the line. It's Singleton. And they get him down after the completion.
One thing I love about this back is how he gets involved in the passing game. Nice catch here.
Going to pick up the 3rd and short through the air. Caught near the sticks. It's Wallace. He'll be taken down, but he does have 1st down yardage. And the Nittany Lions come to the line to start a fresh set of downs. Looking to throw it on 1st down. He'll take a deep shot here. That deep shot is caught for a big gain.
What a pitch and catch by the quarterback and receiver for a big gain for this offense.
Quarterback making some changes at the line. To throw, it's Aller. Fires it to the wideout. And he's got it. Not much after the catch, but it is good enough for a 1st down. A new set of downs after that completion. Moving the receiver around pre-snap. On 1st and 10 here, looking to throw the ball. Caught over the middle. It's Warren. They bring him down, but that gain moves the ball all the way to the 31. 1st down play call. How aggressive will it be? Looking to throw it again. Lets it go quickly. That one falls incomplete. Good defensive play. Brings up 2nd down. snap, and he's looking to throw. Caught in the backfield. It's Fleming. Finds just enough space and makes the first down.
That's another accurate throw by this quarterback. And, Chris, when we did our prep to get ready for the national championship, we all knew that this quarterback potentially could have a big day. But I didn't expect him to get into this kind of zone. This guy cannot miss just having one of those dream performances.
Good execution. Gets a block and gets the first down.
Well, he continues to have time to throw the football, and he makes his defense pay for it. Now, they realized coming into this game they had to take away his ability to throw the football downfield, but it's the receivers and their plays after the catch that's really giving them a hard time.
This will be a challenge now. 2nd and goal, back at the 13. QB decides to keep it here. Tackled behind the line. It's a loss of 2. An important 3rd down and goal now. Well, Kirk, it's Georgia on top so far. We've reached the end of the 3rd quarter in this national championship battle that has lived up to the hype. Before the final period, let's check out the game stats. An exciting start to the quarter here as the offense facing a 3rd and goal. Back to throw. It's Aller. But it's incomplete. They miss an opportunity, and now it's 4th down. Here we go. One of the biggest moments of the game so far. The field goal unit out there for a high-pressure attempt. And this one is right through. And we are tied up now here in the 4th quarter. So after the field goal, the kicker out there again to boot it away.
And I tell you, life of a kicker. This guy's not been called on the entire game. Probably cold as ice on the sideline. But when it matters, he's hot as a stove when his number's called.
And the Georgia offense is back out on the field. The last possession ended in a dreaded red zone interception. Let's see if they can bounce back from that costly error. 1st down play call coming up. How aggressive will it be? Off the play fake, looking to throw. Sacked. It's a loss back to the 6. Second down and long now from their own 6. Off play action, he's looking to throw. And that's going to be a safety.
Well, usually go-ahead scores like this in a 4th quarter from touchdowns or maybe a field goal. But the defense proves that there are other ways to put your team in the lead. Plus, now you get the ball back, and you can take your time while trying to extend this lead or just kill the clock.
Kickoff team out there to boot it away after giving up the safety. On the return, it's Singleton. Gets it to the 29 before being brought down. And the Penn State offense is back out on the field. Last possession produced a field goal. No doubt they're thinking touchdown this time. Fresh set of downs for the offense. 1st down. Looking to throw. It's Aller. Trying to create outside the pocket now. Going for his running back. And the defender gets a hand in there to break the pass up.
Some players just have a real knack for timing their jump, and that defender was able to get a big paw on the ball and bat it away.
So 2nd down after the incompletion. Drops back from the shotgun, looking for an open man. It's incomplete. He was hit as he threw that time. And now 3rd down coming up. Not going to be easy here. Backed up a long way to go for a 1st down.
I think he predetermined where to go with his football. Really didn't give himself a chance to work through his progression.
On the junior, gets home making a sack there.
Chris, this one's on the quarterback, in my opinion. He's got to have a better feel and a presence in the pocket to be able to either check it down or get rid of the ball. He just can't take the sack.
Fair catch called for, but there's a flag down. We'll see what that's about. Pretty easy call for the head coach. He will accept that penalty, of course. The offense gets a second chance at points here after that special teams roughing penalty. And they'll work the clock here by keeping it on the ground. Goes backwards, losing 3 yards there.
How about this defense today against this run game? Here we are in the fourth quarter. This guy's not gotten over 10 yards rushing. What a great effort collectively by this defense.
Quarterback looking to throw it on second down. Receiver makes the grab. They make the stop, but not before a solid gain that time.
You know, we talked this week with the offensive coordinator about what makes this receiver so special. He kept referring to his route running. Here's an example of that. Great route, enough separation to give the quarterback a nice lane to throw the football.
Physical defending. That one falls incomplete. Brings up second down. 6th play of the drive coming up. Takes the ball, tries the right side here. The pickup is 4. Sets up a 3rd and 6 now.
Chris, at least there's some positive yards there from this run game. It hasn't been pretty today. It's really, to me, kept them out of finding any kind of offensive rhythm. Now, they have the lead, but it's despite this offense not necessarily having their best day.
And he's tackled just short of that first down marker. Good job by the defense. They've already converted once on 4th down this game. Let's see if they can make it 2 for 2. They'll change the pre-snap look now. And he's throwing for it on 4th down. Looking for the wide out. Makes the catch, and that is enough for a first down. Touchdown, Nittany Lions. This quarterback on fire today.
This guy can do it all. We've seen him go behind coverage and make plays downfield. We can see him catch the ball underneath, just like this. And when he catches a football, he is so dangerous after the catch. This one leads him into the end zone for the 6 points.
Quarterback finds a target on the right. It's complete. And he runs it into the end zone to make the margin 10 points. A 2-score game now. Now they get set to kick it away. Looks like the returner will try and field this one. And the returner will be brought down. And the powerful Georgia offense is back out on the field. This offense trying to bounce back. The last time out there, they surrendered a safety. To the air, it's Beck. Makes a quick catch. Breaks loose at the 40. Oh, and he breaks free. It's a foot race. And he's brought down, but there is a penalty marker out there. Let's check out this call. Quarterback roughed up. Let's hope he's okay. Automatic first down coming. First down here, the offense has time for one more play before the 2-minute warning. Grab down the middle. It's Bell. Defense makes the stop after the completion. We reach the 2-minute warning here. This offense needing to score and then get the football back. Quarterback looking to pass here on second down. Catch made in the end zone. Touchdown, Georgia. Here we go. National championship game, 4th quarter. 1-possession game. Let's see who's going to step up.
Well, the stakes can't get any bigger. The offense has done their job to give themselves a chance. But what about their opponent? What about the other side? How will they handle this pressure? Late in the game, they still have the lead. I want to see what their plan of attack is and how aggressive they might be willing to be.
And the Nittany Lions offense retakes the field. Suddenly, this is a 3-point game in the 4th quarter. Interesting to see how aggressive they get with play calling. Moves the ball up to the 30. And now it's the defense that calls timeout here, trying to get organized and preserve as much clock as possible.
I'll take that every single time. Offensive line does a nice job up front. This back's vision and ability to get positive yards by lowering his pads on full display right there.
Second down after that run on the previous play. Takes the snap and takes off on the run. And the ball to the ground. It's a turnover. And they bring him down. Great play by the defense, but there is a flag on the field. Let's see if the play stands. The offense will obviously decline that penalty and take the result of the play. The offense starts with excellent field position. On 1st and 10, looking to throw. Oh, it's picked off. What a play. Can he take it all the way? Follows the pick with a nice return before finally being brought down.
Well, that defender deserves the game ball for that game-sealing play. Now all there is to do is run out the clock and walk out of here with a W.
They're moving the receiver now before the snap. First play of the drive, they'll come out throwing. Quick throw, misses his mark there, incomplete. Here's that defense shifting again. Incomplete, so it's 2nd down and 10. They'll run the option. The back's got it on the pitch. Breaking free at the 35. Tackle, but not before picking up big yards and a 1st down. Defense couldn't stop the option that time. And now a timeout taken by the defense, trying to preserve as much clock as possible for their offense. The Nittany Lions are looking to take advantage of this red zone trip. Brought down after a 7-yard gain, so it's 2nd and 3. And now it's the defense that calls timeout here, trying to get organized and preserve as much clock as possible. So down here in the red zone, every yard tough to find. Here is a crucial play coming up. They'll try the option play here. And the defense smothers him for no gain. The Nittany Lions hustle to the line to run that hurry up. They're going to run the option. They'll toss it to the back. Finally out of bounds after a solid gain, but there is a flag on the field. So let's check this out. Obviously, the defense will decline that penalty on the offense and take the result of that play. Rolling the dice a bit, up one possession and going for it on 4th down. The crucial play here, they go to the air. Launching one to the end zone. Grab near the sticks. It's Warren. Touchdown, Penn State. This offense cannot be stopped. Another touchdown strike. You win national championships with elite quarterback play. And Kirk, this guy's putting on a show.
I mean, this is a national championship. You imagine having this kind of performance? This is something that we'll always remember. Right now, this defense is overmatched with his ability to throw the ball and the receivers' jobs of running routes. Everything's in sync right now.
He runs it into the end zone to stretch the lead from 9 to 11. Kickoff team on the field getting set now. And here's the return from inside the 5. And he stopped at the 19. Good job by the coverage team. And the Bulldogs offense is back out on the field. See if this quarterback can bounce back. The last possession, a pick on the very first play. Offense getting ready for what could be their last drive. Time ticking away in the last quarter. First play of the drive, looking to throw the football. Finds a man downfield. It's a big gain to the right. They bring him down, but a big chunk of yardage on the play. They'll hurry to the line here with the clock running. And the offense wisely spikes the ball here to stop the clock. 2nd down after that previous play. Looking to pass. It's Beck. On the run, he'll let it go. Looks downfield and finds a receiver who worked his way wide open. They bring him down, but that is a huge play for this passing game. Big game. And now they'll just clock it. Coming to the line on 2nd down. This is important. They want to avoid a 3rd and long. There's the snap. They'll set up to throw. Makes the catch. Can he get in? He makes it to the end zone. Touchdown, Dogs.
This offense has done what's been asked of them. They get the touchdown. Now it comes down to, can you recover the onside kick to give yourself a shot?
And it's a sack. The 2-point try fails, and they can't get into that deficit any further. Looks like they're lining up to attempt an onside kick. And the receiving team makes the recovery. The hands team does its job perfectly. And the Penn State offense comes back on the field. So it's still a one-possession game. The offense would love to work the clock here, but they can't take their foot off the gas. Here comes a first down pass attempt. Incomplete. They cannot connect on the deep ball.
Chris, they come up with the incompletion, but I like the idea of stretching the defense. They can do so much to help out with your short to intermediate passing game, even affect the running game by making those safeties aware that you're willing to take a shot downfield.
They look to throw it here on second down. Oh, a throwaway there. Gave up on the play, but now it's going to bring up third down. They come to the line, a long way to go for the first down, but needing this crucial conversion right now. To throw, it's Aller, looking for his big tight end, who makes the grab. Tackle is made, but the junior quarterback shows off his arm strength that time. And the Nittany Lions getting set on 1st and 10. Quick throw to the left. Defense breaks it up. Nice play. Incomplete.
Well, Chris, the offense takes a shot downfield, and this defender does a great job of making a play on the ball. Not only that, he tips that ball up into the air. Good chance for the defense to come up with an interception there.
And it's incomplete. Just 5 seconds left on the clock now. So the offense getting set. This is not where you want to be against this defense. 3rd and long. Dropping back, looking to throw for the first down. And that pass rush has trapped him. It's a sack. And that'll do it. We have a national champion. For the last team standing at the top of the mountain, Kirk, national champion.
Well, it's been so much fun to watch this team play all year long. They've had some challenging moments. They've been able to overcome them. And how fitting, a close game in the national championship. They come through one more time. And as you say, they hold the trophy. They are the national champions of the year.
And that is going to wrap it up. We enjoyed this one here. For Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Chris Fowler, and this has been another presentation of EA Sports College Football.